How are we doing, people? It's your man Nex here, and I hope you're all ready for today's game of theories because it's one hell of a heavyweight. I'm talking about a significant finding that I recently stumbled across that leads to not just one, but two theorized outcomes that potentially answer a wealth of questions about the Night King. Now, I will warn you, there is one minor spoiler that, if accurate, reveals one of the episode titles for season 7, but if you're okay with that, then you're in for a treat. So let's jump straight in and get to it. Since the release of the season 7 promo and teaser trailers, the hype surrounding the Night King has increased on a tremendous level, and why wouldn't it? They pretty much confirmed to us that winter is here. However, if there was one thing that caught my eye in particular, it was the ending of the promo that revealed the spiral symbol yet again. I couldn't help thinking to myself that, given the context of the promo, why would they need to bring this up again unless its meaning still holds significant relevance in the upcoming season? For a long time, I've been able to do nothing more than just speculate in my mind. However, that all changed when I was creating the Bran Saving Westeros video, which was all about the symbol from the first episode that I linked to the God's Eye. As I was going through footage from HBO's season 6 lore and histories about the Children of the Forest to use in the video, I found something that might possibly be the biggest Easter egg. In the clip, the three-eyed raven narrates the signing of the pact on the Isle of the Faces, but if you look closely as the camera pans down over the large red tree, you can see very faint marks dotted around the tree. When I enhanced them, I could not believe my eyes. They formed the very same seven-armed spiral, except this time it's on the God's Eye. Now, I had to get this double and triple checked by my fellow Thrones YouTubers Kyle and Grey Area, and they immediately agreed with the finding. But what does it all mean, and why would this symbol be on the God's Eye? On its own, it's just another question, but if you link it with all the other appearances of this symbol, it potentially serves as the missing piece of the jigsaw that completes the bigger picture. Especially when you combine it with this leaked photo that reveals what the title of episode 4 is going to be, the Big Tree. That would place a possible feature of the God's Eye towards the back end of the season, and the mention of a wolf crew only throws more fire on the return of Nymeria, hopefully with her direwolf super pack. So, let's move on to my first hypothesis. The seven-armed spiral makes its debut appearance in season 3, when it is found by Jon Snow and Mance Rayder at the Fist of the First Men, after it was left behind by the White Walkers. We later find out through Bran's vision in season 6 that it's identical to the markings of the location where the Night King was created. And 8,000 years on, we see that the leader of the White Walkers is still attached to the events that took place there. Just when we think we're finished with the symbol, the season 7 promo reveals another variant of it. Whether the blue eye is meant to represent the God's Eye or the Night King's eye, either way, the spiral is at the heart of it all. So, unless there is some random location we don't know about yet, the God's Eye is the only other place that is now linked to this symbol. The fact that the Night King has been leaving these messages that also point to the God's Eye suggests that he knows something we don't. Perhaps if more Children of the Forest exist, maybe even their whereabouts. But at the end of the day, it is no coincidence that extraordinary magic has been performed at the center of these spirals in both locations. When the children conjured the Hammer of the Waters on the Isle of the Faces, then again the day the Night King was born in what is now known as the Land of Always Winter. The Night King exists through the magic of the children, and if their powers are connected through the two spirals, would that explain why the Night King appears transfixed with that symbol? Trapped for 8,000 years in a frozen wasteland with no real sense of purpose in life is an awful existence. It's nothing but a prison to cover up and contain a terrible mistake made by the Children of the Forest. Their magic is still bound to the Night King, and he is looking to literally kill two birds with one stone. On one hand, he wants to reap his revenge on the children, and on the other, he wants to be free of this nightmare he's been forced to endure. By ending their bloodline, it should end their magic, and when that's gone, it could potentially be the end of the Night King and the White Walkers, and just maybe there's somehow a way back for him. Now then, it's time for my second hypothesis. I want to start by quoting the Three-Eyed Raven when he first meets Bran. "You will never walk again, but you will fly." Almost everyone I've ever spoken to believes that this is a foreshadowing of Bran walking a dragon in the Great War to come. But I must say, don't you think that's a little too obvious? For starters, he was already able to walk into Summer and Hodor way before he got to the Three-Eyed Raven, and if he's only required to take control of a dragon, then why wouldn't they just summon a skin change that was already accomplished, such as Oral, or even the Thenwarg? There would be much less risk involved. They're more experienced and much closer to the Three-Eyed Raven's cave. And if it was only for his gift of the sight, why not just recruit Jojen? I mean, he already seemed to know a great deal about what was going on. Or hell, why not himself for that matter? He was a master greenseer and had pretty much seen everything there was to know. I believe the real meaning behind the quote is that Bran will learn to fly through time. Not just through sight, but physically. When he's talking to Jojen about the things they've seen, Jojen states that he's seen the only thing that matters, Bran. And apparently, he knew that he was going to be killed, but when anyway? That's quite a high price to pay just so someone can develop their Warg and Greenseer abilities. Bloodraven also tells Bran that he's been watching them their entire lives, and to quote him again, "He died so that you could find what you have lost. You will never walk again, but you will fly." If what he's lost is the ability to fly through time, then it all makes sense as to why it must be Bran. Him learning how to travel to the past and future would be the start of his process to complete the circle of his fixed timeline. We know Bran is capable of travelling back in time as we watched him do it with Hodor, and for a moment, Hodor saw him. His father heard him, and the Night King even grabbed him. He has technically existed in the past while simultaneously existing in the present. And all this does is throw more evidence on the fact that it is extremely likely that he is someone we know from the history books. The other Brandon Starks from old Nan's stories. And I believe there is a chance that he is even the Night King. If he was, it would answer an immense amount of questions, and trust me when I say it is certainly conceivable. So how do we get there? We go back to the leaked photo of the title episode and the Easter egg of the Seven-Armed Spiral on the God's Eye. At some point, Bran will be heading for the Isle of the Faces to learn how to properly fly through time. Whilst there, he keeps trying to intervene with events in the past to try and stop the White Walkers, but he keeps failing, and all he's really doing is fulfilling the circle of his fixed timeline, because the ink is dry. He's the voices in Aerys Targaryen's head, telling him to burn the White Walkers, but he only succeeds in becoming the source of his insanity. He tries to discover how they originally defeated the Great Others, but only succeeds in becoming Bran the Builder, helping to construct the Wall and Winterfell, the castle he already knows brick for brick. Eventually, I think Bran will try stopping the Children of the Forest from ever creating the Night King by going right to the source of where it happened. But he'll forget that he's travelling to a time period where the Children of the Forest and the First Men are embroiled in war. Having never met him in this time period, Leaf and the other children will not recognise who he is. And it is here where they will capture Bran and use him in their experiment. When they're watching the Night King being made, just as Leaf is about to push the dragon glass into the man's chest, there's a moment where it flicks back to Bran in the cave and he tightens his grip on the vines, bracing himself as if he is about to be on the receiving end of what's happening. Then, as the scene ends, the camera goes back onto Bran, and his position is identical to the man in the vision. The way Leaf is even looking at him, and to quote her, "We had to defend ourselves from you, from men." Could she have been literally talking about Bran? Jojen and the Three-Eyed Raven warned Bran several times about how dangerous it can be to spend too much time inside the visions, how if you're not careful you can get lost in them forever. And it's already nearly happened to him when Mira was frantically trying to wake him up but couldn't. What if that is what eventually happens to him? If the Night King is an ancient version of Bran, it would explain why he can walk, as Bran is able to in all of his visions. Also, how he knew when and where Bran was going to be before he marked his arm. Why he would want to personally strike the killing blow to the Three-Eyed Raven for hiding the truth about what would happen in his past and future. All of this could be building towards George's bittersweet ending, that in order for Jon Snow to save Westeros, he will have to kill his own flesh and blood, Bran Stark the Night King. As always, thank you for watching. I really hoped you enjoyed the video. So, what do you guys make of it all? Is it possible that Bran really could be the Night King? And will they reveal to us the true meaning behind the link up of these symbols? Their growing significance is clearly paramount to the story. Don't forget to leave your submission for the upcoming Q&A, and until next time, take it easy.